How's it going? Welcome back. And in this, we're talking about ads and AI in 2025, exactly what's working right now. These are the top 10 questions I'm currently getting in the free school group, on social media, and some threads I've found on Reddit. This is going to be how to deal with Andromeda and build more profitable ads that scale better now than they ever have before if you do them right, and 2 practical ways to incorporate AI into your lead generation processes that's actually going to make you money and is going to become another shiny object that's just going to waste your time. So let's jump right in. The first question is, what the hell happened to my ad? My lead costs, my CPMs went through the roof. Well, what happened to your ad is Andromeda. And there's a lot of people that are saying a lot of stuff about this, but the long and short of it is this. Little tweaks within the platform are going away, and good marketers are actually emerging and making more money. So the simple fix is this. You used to come up with a couple mediocre ads and then test a bunch of different audiences in separate ad sets, figure out which audience got you the cheapest cost per lead or booked call, and then just trim the fat, reallocate the ad budget. No more. It's opposite. You're going to test a couple broad targets. I suggest wide open, an interest stack, and a lookalike based on your buyers. Those are the only 3 targets worth testing anymore. And you're going to come up with 10, 15 different ad creatives, peaking to different segments of your market depending on where they're at in that buying journey. You're going to come up with 2, 3 different angles or hooks, however you'd like to think about it, for each one of those stages, and you're going to test them. All right? So don't test a ton of targets, test a ton of creative now. Meta put out a stat recently that proved like just having more creative lowered cost per acquisition by like 31, 32%. It was wild, okay? Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go create 20, 30 creatives. What it means is you need to do your research, know your ideal client profile really, really well, and speak their language and use good direct response copywriting to get them to take the desired action. So with that, the second question is, what kind of creative is Meta favoring right now? And put simply, 2 things. One, face to camera, really unpolished. Like if I just took this and literally just auto captioned it, it'd probably outperform something with, higher production value a lot of times. You can also go the UGC route. A lot of people using handy AI tools, and that's one of the very practical places you can use AI, creating UGC type ads with AI actors, or even just coming up with your own custom like influencer now. You use stuff like HeyGen or Arc ads for this. It's a piece of cake. But the other crazy thing is, because AI is becoming more and more popular, super polished stuff out there just like screams ad and screams AI, and to people's mind it means fake. So again, that low production face to camera selfie style video auto captioned more often than not will outperform the super polished stuff. Okay, use good direct response copywriting, speak it right into the camera, and of course social proof, right? Client interviews, case studies always crush it, and things that feel more like content with a light pitch at the end will always outperform, in my experience, something that's super salesy where you're just spewing about how great you or your product or service is. Okay, the third question is, are lead form ads dead now with Andromeda? No. Lead form ads are working better than ever, but you have to know 3 very important rules, because what you'll hear people say about lead ads is, oh, you get a ton of cheap leads, but they're so unresponsive. And that is true. Up to 70% of the leads you get through a lead form ad often won't respond. So are they really cheaper? No, they are not. Here's the trick to making lead form ads work. And I do believe these are going to become way more popular because, of course, your CPMs are going to be much lower because you're not taking people off platform. And that's what Facebook wants. They want to keep them on platform. So how do you use them and actually get high quality leads that are responsive and will book the call and buy? Here's how you're going to do it. Simply by changing from a volume approach to a higher intent lead form will boost response up to 40+%. Okay, this is statistics that Meta produced. Easy. It's a button click. But here's what I do. If you're a B2B person, always ask for work email and work number. Those often don't autofill. They have to consciously type them in, shows higher intent. 2, ask 2 qualifying questions. And of course, those questions will depend on you and your niche. But you see what we're doing here is we're adding a bit of friction. And will your cost per lead go up? Yes, but they will actually respond to you or your setter when you reach out to book a call. And that, of course, is the point. Okay, so you add a little bit of friction. Now, here's a great little trick. At the end, you have a call to action. If you are a professional service provider, that little call to action should link directly to your freaking calendar. You don't even necessarily need a landing page. Just link it to the damn calendar app, and you'll be shocked. In my experience, 50-60% of your leads will go ahead and just self-book. And then you can use an AI chatbot, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the later in the episode here, about following up with people that don't self-book right away with an AI setter. Okay, question number 4 was, why are my leads ghosting me now more than ever? And it's not just you. This is true across the board. The average response rate to somebody who will become a lead and book a call even is literally 15%. That's the average right now, and that's pathetic. If you're not seeing at least 70% of the people showing up, you're fumbling the ball. And here's what's going on. It's not your ads, all right? If you're using lead ads, yeah, that could be it. But if you do everything I just spoke about to add a little friction to the process, pre-qualify people, that's not the problem. The problem is the follow-up process. And people say, well, I have a nurture campaign, which nobody freaking sees anymore. Or I have a setter that, follows up with them whenever they have a chance, or, the next day or 2 hours afterwards. No. This is one of the very practical applications of AI right now. You need to be using AI setters. Why this isn't ubiquitous blows my mind, because these people need to be followed up within 5 minutes of becoming lead. If you have somebody followed up within 5 minutes of becoming a lead, they are 400% more likely to become a paying customer. The second thing, you gotta have some person-to-person back and forth. Yet something else an AI chatbot can do, where they're asking them insightful questions, they're having a back and forth. This not only allows you to qualify them, but do a bit of pre-selling before you even jump on the call. And a low-tech tip that anybody can use if you're not ready to implement AI is use your phone, shoot a personalized selfie video, thanking them for booking the thing, ask them a few insightful questions so you get a back and forth going on via text, and text them that video. That stupid little thing right there will take you from 50% to 70, 80% show up rates, okay? So that's a long-winded way of saying the reason why you're getting ghosted is doing the usual automated follow-up, like, oh, your appointment's in 24 hours, your appointment's in an hour, blah, blah, blah. It's not enough anymore. It has to be personalized, it has to be interactive, and you have to be adding value in that follow-up. So at the very least, if you're doing the boring old automation follow-up, include links to some client case studies, testimonials, long-form content that really builds the value and differentiates you in whatever it is that you're selling. Okay, well, question number 5, here it is. Do AI booking bots actually work? Jeez, this is the most important application for AI right now because it absolutely does work. And I think you're insane if you're not looking into implementing this right now, because it makes everything you're currently doing work way better. Industry average stats that I'm seeing right now is 30% more booked calls from cold leads from ads. That's a ridiculous jump. 25 to 40% higher show-up rates using an AI bot to follow up people who have already booked a call. Again, building that back and forth in a very oddly human way that gets them to show up. So think about this. Take the advertising you're doing right now and say, what would it do for the bottom line if 30% more of my leads booked a call? And what would it do for the bottom line is another 25% more show up. All right. So you went from a 50% show up rate to a 75% show up rate. Would that make you more money? Yes. if you had a 30% jump in the people that become leads booking a call over what you're seeing right now, would that make a massive difference? Yes. It's absolutely insane. And I'll give you another one because this is something I do for clients like day one. Is if you've been in business for any length of time, you got a database just filled with people who would love to buy from you. They just haven't heard from you and they haven't seen the gajillion emails you've sent. You can unleash an AI reactivation bot on your existing database and create massive influxes of new appointments and sales for you, like inside 5 to 7 days. Like I said, this is something I've been implementing for like coaches, consultants, agency owners, people like this for over a year now, and it never fails. I think the worst result we've seen is somebody doing somewhere around 40K in sales again inside a week. So yes, AI booking bots. I mean, I feel bad for appointment setters because they're completely obsolete now. And if you're not looking to implement this in your business right now, in my humble opinion, this is the most useful, impactful to the bottom line way to implement AI right now. If you're not doing it, you're nuts. All right, what was question 6, 7? I don't remember, but the question is this: exactly how much in my follow-up could I realistically use AI? Right now, like 90%. And it's the tedious 90% that none of your salespeople want to do, and that your, contract, appointment setters overseas aren't doing a very good job with. You know what I mean? The obvious thing is speed to lead is unmatched. No human's ever going to be able to do that. It's going to follow the exact script that you give it. So it's amazing for not only following up, booking calls, but getting higher show-up rates once they've booked a call. And they're actually pretty damn good at overcoming some minor objections if you know how to prompt them correctly, which we definitely do. We'll make a video on that later. So the things that you obviously can't outsource to AI is the actual appointment. You still need to be like a human being. Here's what's wild. A lot of people prefer a lot of like the ticky-tack back and forth, booking call, confirming a call, rescheduling if they need to. They actually prefer, there's a stat, but like 65% of people prefer to do that with an AI system simply because it's streamlined, it's convenient. They don't have to try to get a hold of somebody, right? People are busy, you're busy, I'm busy. It just makes sense. So yeah, 90% of the follow-up. Obviously, the human connection when it comes to actually making the sale, assessing the client's needs thoroughly, not just what they need in the real world, but emotionally, obviously, is still very much a human activity. And if you think about it, if you're a professional service person, this is the part of job you enjoy. So even if we could outsource that, I hope we never get to that point, honestly. We probably will, but the tedious stuff, the follow-up, the, just dialing and smiling, 1,000 times a day, you don't need to do that. It's super important. It's super profitable. Let an AI chatbot do that for you. It's going to do a better job anyways. All right. Question number 7. Can AI actually write high-converting ad copy? Well, if you're just prompting any old LLM real quick and saying, oh, here's my landing page, write me some copy, probably not. It's probably going to be really crappy, robotic sounding. But if you know what you're doing, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. It's AI plus a person. That's going to outperform one or the other by itself. And here's how you're going to do it. And here's my process, and it works really well. Is you have to have at least a basic understanding of good direct response copywriting. And you can't just link a landing page and say, write me copy for this. What you got to do is you got to know your customer inside and out, not just demographically, but psychographically, and you got to know what sets your product or service apart from the competition. What do you call it? What's your proprietary process? What's your unique mechanism? Can you articulate that quickly in just 3 to 5 steps that clearly demonstrate the added value and unfair advantage that your product or service offers that the competition does not. If you know those things, along with some basic direct response copywriting, you're not just going to load this into any old LLM and say, write me copy. This is where AI really excels. As you say, give me hooks and headlines. Give me 10 headlines and 10 leads for a long form sales page or whatever you're writing, and run through that. And it'll come up with a ton of variants, and you can say, I like this, but let's inject some third-party stats to give it some credibility and make it more curiosity-inducing. And it'll whip up different things. And what you do is you go through this iterative process, and you say, I like this, I don't like that. Let's add this, let's take away that. And you go through each step of that sales and marketing message 2, 3, 4, 5 times, however many times it takes, to get that gold, that output, right? And this is after you've loaded all the information we just covered on the demographics, psychographics of your ideal client and your product, right? You go down step by step, iterate. Cool, that looks good. On to the next step. That's how you're going to use AI to write insanely great copy, okay? It's not just a one and done thing. People are going to start recognizing that crap real quick, and it's going to be mediocre at best. All right, question number 8. How do I write ads that attract a high-end buyer and not a bunch of freebie seekers or newbies? Especially now with Andromeda, people are confused because there's not a lot of ways to target. I remember back in the day, hell, you could target people by income level in the United States. That was pretty cool. But, even then, here's the thing. I'm going to give you some easy button answers, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more sophisticated answer. It'll take some time to get to. But here's the thing, is your ad copy or what you say in the video is the new targeting. So you need to call out your ideal client explicitly. Coaches doing 20K a month or more, or whatever it is, right? And the second thing you need to do, and you can qualify by price too, by the way. You can go, if you spend X on Y, this is for you. These are the easy buttons, right? A lot of people refer to this as dog whistle copy, a la Dan Kennedy. It's a great place to start. But the other thing, it reminds me of a client who's having this very issue. They were selling a franchise, but they were getting a bunch of biz op nerds that lived in their mom's basement answering their ads. And I looked at their ads, and of course they made a common mistake. They were copying a lot of the copy that you see in the kind of online biz op-y internet marketing world. So that's who they attracted. All we did was we rewrote their copy from the standpoint of a accredited investor and what language that they use, right? Because somebody who is already very successful, who probably owns a number of franchises already, uses a very different language and a very different selection criteria when they're looking into an opportunity, right? And with ChatGPT and stuff, it's so easy to do your research on this. And just load up your copy and just say, hey man, rewrite this to appeal to this person, right? And just like that, speak in their language, call them out explicitly. And here's the wild thing is that the new Andromeda update, it's reading your copy. Like your copy is the new way it's doing targeting. So it doesn't work, it just works psychologically with the people reading the ad, but it helps the new algorithm put it in front of them. Okay, question 9, is AI actually saving coaches money? Okay, and this is going to apply to any service-based business, not just money but time. It's an estimated 40% of your time is spent on repetitive administration tasks. So for most people, that's going to be 15, 25 hours a freaking week. And they're starting to come out with stats. Service businesses, particularly coaching and consulting businesses, implementing AI are outgrowing in revenue, real revenue numbers, up to 45% faster than those who are not, because you get to concentrate on your area of genius and not just spending half your damn work week doing mindless, tedious, repetitive tasks that AI is great at. Two things that AI is fantastic for right now that will make you more money. One, AI booking bots to follow up, confirm, qualify, pre-sell, ensure your highest show up rate. All these things that take an inordinate amount of time, it's great at. It replaces, your shitty setter that isn't getting you results right now, and does a fantastic job. The other thing is copy and creative from a marketing standpoint. You can put out top-notch work, both visually or copywriting, in literally half the time. So, yeah, AI is saving any service-based business, but particularly coaches and consultants, 40% of their work week. And that means you get to spend more time working with the right clients and more time on the big picture strategy that's actually going to push the enterprise forward rather than just treading water. Okay, I think this will be the last question of the day. You're always talking about ads and AI equal big success, but how do you actually implement? Well, I touched on this a bit earlier, and there's two ways. One, copy and creative, you can get it done twice as fast. That's easy. Everybody's focusing on that right now because it's sexy, it's cool, I get it. But the big game changer when it comes to money in the bank is follow-up. The old adage is annoyingly true. The fortune is in the follow-up. The reason why people don't do it, of course, is it's boring as hell and it's time-consuming. AI doesn't care. AI doesn't get bored. It doesn't take nights and weekends and holidays off. It follows the script every freaking time. So, whip out higher quality, creative, copy, and even sales pages twice as fast with AI, and make sure you're using AI booking bots on the other side of your ad, because I'm willing to bet that even if your ads aren't the greatest, they're performing well enough to make you an obscene amount of money. 99% of the time in any service business, where the ball gets dropped is follow-up, and AI does that better than any human ever could. So those are the two areas you need to focus on if you want AI to actually move the needle in your business, save you a boatload of time and make you a boatload of money without being just another shiny object that looks cool but doesn't really make a difference day to day in the business. All right, cool. So that's the whole thing, everybody. If you have questions, comments, concerns about anything we covered today, ask them down below wherever you're at. And I'll try to put the links over to the free school group where people are usually asking these questions and getting more in-depth answers from me. And of course, if I can't answer those questions just in the comments, I'll do another video like this where we can really get into the weeds in some of these individual topics and nerd out a bit. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.